Hello, welcome to the Weber Dojo. Today we're going to work on uke waza, or blocking techniques. More appropriately, it should be deflecting techniques. We say blocking in English, but a better translation would be deflection, because we want to make sure that an attack coming at us is deflected away from our body, and we're not trying to stop it or block it from hitting us. We're trying to deflect it away from our center line. So today I thought that we would work on three main areas. We'll work on jodan area, chudan, and gedan. We're mainly going to focus on our upper body techniques, so make sure that you are sufficiently warmed up. We will work mainly on our upper body, not so much our lower body today. So the three main areas: jodan, which is basically your head and neck; chudan, so that's this area. Chudan is basically your shoulders to your belt or your waist, and then gedan is your waist through your groin area. So for today, we're going to use simple blocks, and then also maybe throw in some advanced blocks for those of an advanced level that would prefer to practice those blocks as well. So let's start looking at the jodan level. So jodan, we're going to work on jodan ageuke. So obviously jodan means head level. So let's get started. So from here, when I teach jodan, I will start making an X block. Fist, make sure you can see under your X, and then put your hands down. So this is a quick review for those of our students that may have just gotten their yellow belt, maybe they're still a white belt. Just a quick review for you. Make your X. When you make your X, you come to the middle here, but in an upward motion. You don't straighten and then come up. Okay, so you make your X and then down. So now, make your X, bring one arm down to your hip and a draw hand. Then bring it back up, bring the other hand down. So when you think about making an X, the blocking hand goes from your fist at an angle upward and stops on the other side of your head. And then you rotate your fist over. Okay, so from here, bring one hand up, the other hand down, up and down. Okay, now we're going to switch our hands. So when we switch our hands, the hand that's blocking goes on the outside of our arms, so it's on the outside, so it takes a more offensive position here. Then the other hand, the drawing hand, from here, drop the elbow so that you can brush and bring it back for a draw hand. All right, so it'll look like this. Now, sometimes we'll even open this drawing hand, and what that does is that allows us to use this idea as maybe you're grabbing somebody's arm for more of an offensive technique with your rising block. So for today, it doesn't matter to me whether you open your hand or keep your hand closed. All right, so from here, practice each knee. Make sure that you're rotating your wrist all the way over this way. Rotating the wrist allows you to control power. It also helps you tense your forearm. Okay, 3, 4, 5, 6. Make sure not to bring your arm over and move it straight up. This is not as strong of a block as an angled block. You want to make sure your fist is above your elbow and that your bicep is close to your ear, so that you're protecting your entire face, not just half of your face. 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, relax. Okay, so that's rising block. So now let's move on to middle block, chudan sotoke. So for middle block, you're working on the middle half of your body. So we're going to work on the most common one that we use, which is middle block. So from here, this hand, the blocking hand, is close to your ear. You don't want to stick your elbow out. It's just a result of bringing your fist up to your ear. So I don't want you to lift your elbow up any higher than it has to be. So fist to your ear, draw hand out. From here, you want to drop the elbow of the blocking hand, rotate it around, and I'm going to move my hips, rotate my shoulders a little bit. I don't want to stop my block here, because this, if I'm in a stance, this is not effective. So the hips are really important in allowing this block to be successful. So I think that it's important to use your hip when you're doing that. So when you bring this around, go ahead and rotate around so that you're bringing the block across your body. Okay, then we're going to switch by putting your hand out, the blocking hand out, this hand up to your ear. Knee, and then rotate. San, shi, go. Make sure that you keep your fist about, or your elbow about a fist away from your body. This wrist, make sure you're not bending it this way. Make sure that you keep this straight. Rook, sich, hach, ku, and ju. So make sure again that you're dropping your elbow and blocking this way. So another drill you could do is by blocking your other arm. You don't want to come down and be blocking the top of your arm. You want to block to the side, because the idea is to push the block and push the punch to the side, not push the punch down, because then it's just, they're just punching at a lower target than your chest. Okay, so drop and through. Okay, so then the next one we're going to work on is we're going to work on gedan barai, downward sweeping block. So from here, you want to take the blocking hand, you want to move it across to the opposite ear. Make sure that the fist is touching the ear, so you've got this rotation of your hand again, and then you rotate it around when you end. This hand, the drawing hand, points straight in an outward direction about chudan level, and it's important that your elbows touch here. If this hand is weak and only comes to here, what's going to happen is if you go to block something, you're going to block more straight down on the technique than pushing the technique to the side. So remember, we talked about deflecting the technique. The goal of a block or uke is to deflect the technique, push it to one side or the other, or up away from your body. So down block, if your elbow is here, this is where you're rotating. You want to make sure to get this elbow in the center of your body as best you can. So we'll say gimmicks like touch your fist to your ear. What it does is it brings this hand back and it gets the elbow in the center of your body. So again, your drawing hand is pointing somewhere around chudan level this way. The blocking hand moves down, because remember, it's blocking gedan, which is this lower part of your body. So the blocking surface should be somewhere around your wrist. And that's true of all of these blocks. However, we may not be perfect, so we're trying to set ourselves up so that maybe you can block here to here. So down block can sometimes be used for a chudan attack as well. So people will use that. So you can move the direction. Middle block can be used for jodan as well. If you don't drop your elbow, and you just keep your elbow up high, you can use it to block jodan as well. All right, so let's practice down block for a few times. Ready? Ich, knee. This hand comes to the opposite ear and down. San. You can use your hips and rotate around. Make sure that the block stops at least even with your body. You don't have to go all the way outside. San, shi, go, rook, sich, hach, ku, and ju. All right, relax. So a couple other pointers. Make sure that the path is smooth for the techniques. Middle block, rising block, make sure that the path is smooth and not choppy. And you want to relax your arm through the movement. You want to add tension at contact or at the end of the block. So the block should finish when it touches the target. So that, or touches the attack. So that's when you want the kime. Kime is tensing your body and bringing all your focus to the very end of the technique. So sometimes that technique may stop. Maybe you're blocking here instead of here because you're moving out of the way. So you want to make sure that the kime happens at the end of the technique. And then you only hold it for a split second and then you relax so that you can move to the next technique. The other thing is, we talked about protect your body. So when you're making a rising block, we use something about a fist away from your body. So this block is about a fist away. This block is about a fist away. This block is about a fist or a fist and a thumb away from my body. So you want to make sure that you're keeping up with those ideas. Doing that allows you to use body connection by tensing your armpits and the elbow close to your body. That's what's going to give your block some strength and power behind it. Now we're going to put those 3 blocks together and create a combination drill. For the advanced level, I'm going to give you a higher level difficulty blocks if you'd like to perform those blocks instead. All right, so let's start from left hand out. Your right hand is on your hip. Your right hand is going to be making the block and in each 3 of the techniques. So first count, right hand is a rising block, each. Then the next count is going to be counter punch with your left hand, knee. So your right hand is always blocking and your left hand is always punching. Then next count for san, your right hand comes to your ear. San, make middle block. Shi, and punch. Then your right hand comes to your opposite ear, makes down block, go, and then punch. Okay, so we've done 3 blocks and 3 counter punches. Now, for the advanced level, I'm going to give you different blocks to substitute for each level, for each part of your body. So for jodan, you can do sweeping block, nagashi uke. So you can do sweeping block this way, this way, this way, fists, whichever one you prefer. So you're doing a high level jodan block. So you're going to do that one instead, here, if you'd like. Then the next one, you're going to do uchuke. So you're going to come across, your blocking hand comes more to your belt level. You want to bring your elbow over, just like in down block, you want to bring your elbow over as far as you can, and then make uchuke. And then for the last one, this one in block. Then for the last one, you're going to perform gedan uke, which is outside to inside down block that we most commonly will use for like a side thrust kick or something like that. So you'll do here and punch. All right, so I'm going to do the easier version, which is rising block, middle block, down block. Advanced levels, you can insert those other blocks if you prefer. All right, so starting from your left hand out, right hand on your hip. Ready? Each. Knee is punch. San, middle section. Shi, punch. Go, lower section. Rook. Now, for those that feel like this is too easy, if you're sticking with these blocks or even if you're doing the advanced blocks, you can do 2 blocks, 2 punches instead. So you can go if you prefer. So for each count, you can do 2 sets instead of just 1. All right, so let's start out again. So 1 count, I want you to do the rising block or nagashi, whatever jodan block you're going to do, and counter punch. Ready? Each. Second count, you're going to do middle section, chudan block. Knee. Third count, you're going to do gedan section. San. Ready? Let's start over. Each. Knee. San. Each. Knee. San. 1 count, I want you to do all sections, jodan, chudan, gedan. If you're doing 2 sets, I want you to include that as well. Ready? Each. Knee. 1 last time. San. Up. And relax. So I know that we're not using our lower body a lot right now, but it is still active. You've got to grip the floor with your toes and make sure that that helps support your hip rotation, your body rotation that you're making to try to make power with these techniques. All right, now we're going to switch our hands. So you're going to put your right hand out, left hand on your hip. So you're going to make jodan, age uke. If you're an advanced level, you're going to be doing nagashi uke. Each, then punch, knee. Then for the next one, chudan level, you're going to make chudan soto uke, and advanced level, you're going to do uchi uke. Ni, san. I know my counting's off, sorry. Then gedan level. My group, the beginner level is going to make gedan barai, and then advanced level is going to do gedan uke. Ready? Go. Rook. Let's see if I can get my counting better now. Ready? Jodan level. Ich, then ni. Chudan level. San, shi. Gedan level. Go. Rook. Ready? Ich, ni. San, shi. Go. Rook. Okay, now, if you want, if you feel like you need a more advanced challenge, then do 2 for jodan level, 2 blocks, 2 punches. So 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, ready? 1 count, all jodan level. Each. 1 count, all chudan level. Ni. 1 count, all gedan level. San. Ich, ni, san. Now 1 count, all techniques, all levels. Jodan, chudan, gedan. Ich, ni. 1 last time. San. And relax. All right, move your hips around, arms around. Okay, so we've pretty much done everything in place for now. So if you need something simple to practice your blocks, of course you can just pair it with a stance and do kihon training like we do in class, where you start from any stance you want. So I'll just use a front stance, and you just work your way down the road. You can do this in a hallway, for instance. So ich, ni, san. You can even work it backwards. Ich, ni, san. So you can work that. You can also take parts of your kata and just work on the blocking techniques. Whatever the blocking techniques are, use the stance that you're using. Let's say it's teisho, which is palm heel strike, and a kiburashi. You can just take that section out of your kata and just work on it down a hallway or something like that. And then put it back in your kata to see if it'll help your kata improve. Another idea is you can use the embasin of Heian Shodan. You can use the stances of Heian Shodan if you'd like. And then instead of adding punches and a variety of techniques, just add rising block or middle block or down block, something like that. And see if you can improve your blocks as well. So it's important for blocking. Something that Sensei Yaguchi's always said is that this gives you the opportunity to make a chance. So I know that we've talked about using it to deflect, using it as a defensive technique. It can also be used as a defensive technique that also has an offensive effect. If you block strongly, you may stun the opponent, you may shock them. If they have something in their hand, it may allow a release of their hand to drop whatever weapon they may have in their hand. You can also, if you make a strong block, you can block their hand out of their body line, and then that makes a chance for you to counterattack. So you want to think about things like that, of using your block not only as a defensive technique, and you can also use it as an offensive technique. Okay, that's all we have for today. Make sure that if this is not enough practice for you, seems to be a fairly short training, but the main goal is to just review the blocks slowly and then work them into a combination, and then look at your blocks. Pull out the blocks out of your kata if we didn't cover them. Work them slowly from a standing position where you can just focus on your blocking technique. work on the path, work on the correct application of the kime, then pair it with some stances. Maybe start with the stance that is in your kata, and then you can explore other stances that use that blocking technique and see if you can find an advantage there. All right, that's all we have for today. Keep training, and we hope to see you in the dojo soon.